It's a sense of scale, but also openness, I think, is what makes Pittsburgh so unique.
Henry actually told me that Pittsburgh never fully reveals itself to you, and that's really stuck with me.
The more that a resident is curious to see something new and see what Pittsburgh might be able to offer them, the more they are a better fit for this program.
I'm a comic writer and a self-publisher.
I'm a curator and wordsmith.
I'm an artist and a researcher.
We have no production mandate. What we really want people to do is be deliberate about being open to networking, meeting people, exploring new ideas, taking advantage of the rich history of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a microcosm for the rest of the world, at least in terms of the 20th century. If you're interested in a particular idea or group or community, you generally have some historical connection to that. Pedantic Arts Residency came about when I moved back to Pittsburgh. It was her idea to think about it as sort of three pillars: curator, artist, and writer.
Casey Droege Cultural Productions is a for-profit arts business. We do project management, facilitation, programming, exhibitions, all centered around community practice and creating a sustainable arts ecosystem. This past summer, June 2023, it was our third cohort of the Pedantic Arts Residency. We had Akea Brionne as our visual artist coming from Detroit, Michigan, Chenoa Baker, our curator coming from Boston, Massachusetts, and Chad Bilyeu, who was our writer coming from Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Originally from Cleveland, Ohio, but I live in Amsterdam. What I like about Pittsburgh is that they're brazen and ridiculous enough to actually put French fries in with a salad. Chad in Amsterdam is about my life through the lens of me being this outsider. Tackle all types of stuff, sociologically, historically, comedy, things you wouldn't know about Amsterdam or maybe Dutch culture. There was a time I was in Amsterdam, I'm reading American Splendor, and I was really impressed and inspired by it. Because, you know, he's talking about his life. I'm like, what if I did that? We're talking about like the immigrant experience.
All the residents come from outside the city because the idea is to really invite people to come here and expose them to the full breadth of cultural offerings that Pittsburgh has and have them kind of become advocates for Pittsburgh's art scene and export, you know, what's unique to the city.
I love especially curating group shows to have multiple voices around a topic, and it really comes out of a deep relationship with each one of the artists that I work with, and to really amplify their voice is one of my favorite parts. I have really appreciated going on many studio visits. I really loved getting to see creators in their practice.
The residency has been really helpful with sort of identifying some key people in the community here who are all multi-hyphenate, so it's been really exciting to learn about just how dynamic people are here. And I think maybe in ways that they don't even recognize, at least that's how I feel as an outsider. But I haven't completely felt like an outsider here. People have been very, very opening and welcoming. The work I'm making now and have been making for the past couple years is really exploring imagery through textiles. So I'm exploring a lot of ideas and themes surrounding migration, displacement, assimilation, and really my Afro-Creole identity in the context of like a post-colonial American society and how that sort of complicates the ideas of race and culture and my placement in society. And it's often really examined through my relationship to my environment, the landscape I'm in, the people I'm around.
One of the great things about Pittsburgh is that there's a very kind of low threshold to entry into the creative scene. In very few cities are you actually sort of 2 points of contact away from the director of a major international arts institution. But here, and particularly with our group, we can kind of reach out and access pretty much anyone that a resident might want to meet. How it really breaks down barriers is that every week we have a dinner with the residents where we invite 6 or 8 people from the creative community to come, break bread, have a meal, share, and have discussions. And I think we succeed in inviting people from different institutions who may or may not know each other, but who we think have similar interests or something that is of interest to the particular resident or the whole group of residents.
Part of the Pedantic Arts Residency is to connect each of the residents with a guide. This guide is intended to be a more specific point person. Their practice is probably overlapping with that of the residents, which to our hope will then enable them to connect with more specific individuals, opportunities, resources that will really feed and support what their research interests are for this time.
My guide was Tom Scioli, and I was already familiar with his work. He's an illustrator, writer, comic artist. He's done things working with Marvel and has a comic where he grand designed Fantastic Four. He tells the whole story. That match was perfect, actually, I have to say.
I believe Pittsburgh is a good location for this because we're a welcoming community. We are supportive of other artists, and there isn't so much a competitive market-driven environment for the scene here, so I think we kind of want to raise all boats and see that everyone succeeds.
We're really excited that Pittsburgh is not just a month-long point of interest for these individuals, but actually a community that they are wanting to continue to connect with and looking for support from for a long time into the future.
It's been interesting to get a different feeling every single time I cross a bridge, or no matter what neighborhood I go to. It just feels like a different area of Pittsburgh.
I'll be around for a little bit, and I'll be back. I'm from Cleveland, so Pittsburgh is like 2 CDs away, really. You know, ain't no thing. CDs, who's using CDs?